Hi everyone, I'm Malenko, also known as the worst gamer ever.
I'm Time Travel Zero.
And I'm Dennis, or Dr. Von Strasberg.
Who you do not, whatever he says, do not buy a kidney from him in the back alley in New York.
Seriously, don't.
Okay.
I'm trusty, okay?
Okay, so recently, Rooster Teeth has released a video covering a certain visual novel called Katawa Shoujo. And a lot of people seem to be upset about this video. Me and possibly these guys being one of them, and why we're here today. And we feel like the video didn't do justice to the game.
And not so much that, it's, they didn't do all the research. I'm not saying they had to 100% the game. I mean, let's be fair, that'd be a 10-hour project. But,
or if you're a slow reader, a little faster. Or a little slower. It took me a little while because, off and on I'm a little slow reader. But yeah, I mean, the one guy didn't even play the game. Both of the men in that video didn't even know about the game until the night before. So it's unless that guy was.
All three of them in the video didn't know until the night before.
Yeah,
or at least they didn't know they were on the project. I'm sure they knew it existed.
Well, yeah, but they didn't know that they had they probably did the game or the visual novel the night before. So it just, yeah. So none of them probably completed any of the arcs whatsoever.
I think the one guy said he didn't even get to the festival.
Yeah, the one guy played, I think he said 2 hours, and he didn't even get to any major points in it. The other one didn't play at all whatsoever, and the girl didn't say how long she played.
Yeah, she didn't really say how much, but she didn't have much information that to demonstrate that she had. Like, I don't know about you two fellas, but like years ago I played the whole thing, every single arc, and got every single ending.
Oh no, I've got every single ending, but it's the whole thing of they didn't do enough research to have not have an opinion, but they didn't do enough research to have a solid, here's what I liked, here's what I didn't like, and that's fine. I mean, if they didn't like it, that's fine, but at least do the proper research before you say to, the, I'm guessing, millions of subscribers they have.
Yeah, right. Like, don't judge a game. It comes out of the whole saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a game by its first 10 minutes.
Don't judge a visual novel by its title screen.
Basically, they had played through the intro only, and the one guy was just going off of stuff on the main website that doesn't go too in-depth. Because
they had cheat sheets printed out with the flowchart and the character bios, and it seemed like nothing they said was any more information than what was on those printed off papers.
And I looked over the cheat sheet not their specific one, but I assume they got it off the website, and I checked that and the flowchart, and it doesn't have any serious details you can use to actually say what the game is about.
Right, because spoilers and such.
Yeah.
Yeah, spoilers and such.
But, no. As much as I respect them, going through, or at least on the surface, going through and reviewing games and such for their fans, they need to do the proper research.
Yeah, I agree.
I am a massive fanboy. I will be the first to admit that, and, whatever. That means I'm biased. The whole thing being, they didn't do the research, which, if it wasn't for millions of people, or however many subscribers they actually have, I'd be like, whatever. If they'd played through the game and still didn't like it, that's fine. Opinions, everyone has them. But if you don't at least put a concerted effort forth to, do the proper, I guess, back check on it, why put out a video? Why have an opinion if you haven't at least given it one arc go?
Yeah, and I think that, and I'm not trying to bash them too much, but I actually think that kind of comes down to like journalist integrity. Like, you don't really go you don't really go report on the Vietnam War and never really go there and just kind of skim over the top of it. And I don't know.
Right,
It just seems like it's okay. We're gonna report on this thing without knowing anything about it to just to benefit somehow from it. I just don't think. I don't know. It doesn't seem kosher. It doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, that's our main argument with this whole thing. We're not upset that they didn't like it. If they didn't like it, we'd just be like, okay, well.
Yeah, it's like, who cares? If you
Right? Like I could tell people all the time to tell me they don't like it. But
if you've given it an honest shot and you're just like, it's not my cup of tea, it's like, fair enough, But they didn't give it a fair shot, and they're just like, this is weird. I don't get it.
Right. And then, I mean, I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself, but it like I said, it just felt like the information, like it didn't feel like they actually had any information from the actual game itself or the actual visual novel itself. It was just stuff that was just off their character bios or the flow chart or anything like that. Like I just like Emmy because she's spunky. Like there's so much more to Emmy than just being spunky. Just being...
that ties into what I was saying. It's just if you want to describe the character or give your opinion on the character, at least have the decency to go through the entire story to understand why she's like that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I mean Rooster Teeth as a whole, they're great and everything. Here, I think they just made a little mistake, not giving it an honest shot and just playing it the night before or whatever.
Yeah, as great as you may be, you can't really judge a game after playing like 2 hours the night before.
And even as judgmental as I can be, I can't judge an entire story by the first few pages of the book.
Right. Or at least even the first chapter. Like my general what I go by is if I stop reading, like I do not stop reading a book unless I get to the third chapter and I'm still not liking it. Because if you're at the third chapter and you're still not liking it, it's not going to get any better.
Yeah, I'm sure
typically.
Everyone
I mean,
watching,
there's exceptions.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone watching has at least played one game, seen one show, read one book, where the beginning was like meh, but by the time you got to the end, you thought it was amazing or something.
Yep.
Right. Overall, I think they at least put forth the effort to try to do a video on it, but I do feel like they should have given it some actual effort and gone through to the very end if they were going to make an actual review on it. If they played it and only stopped like where they did and didn't make a review on it, there'd be no issue. It'd be like, okay, it didn't grab your attention enough to merit a response. Because,
Katawa Shoujo is much more than just like some little anime visual novel or something like that. How they made it kind of sound like, oh well, there's some hentai stuff in it, there's some porn stuff in it, and stuff like that. And otherwise, it's kind of just a dating sim, and that's kind of the way they made it sound. It's like, no, Katawa Shoujo, if you get all the way through, it's kind of a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. Like there's some you get some real feels at towards the mid to the end of the actual routes. Maybe not the entire story, but the actual routes. You start getting those feels hitting you, and I think that's why it made it such a great game. Is because it connected with so many people on an emotional level. Because each of the girls have different aspects to themselves, to which everybody can connect with.
I mean, I actually got my act together and started going back to school. I mean, I have a decently enough paying job. It's just I felt driven to go a little step further because this game, is just like, seriously, you're just going to leave it at, the status quo? You're not going to try to push forward with your life?
Yeah, a lot of people had that sort of feeling, or at least a lot of people in our little community. They felt that way after finishing the game, and it really hit most of them really hard. So
yeah, it made the game, like, for me, it and you guys already know all of this, but like the people watching at home, it basically transformed me from a scumbag because there was a little bit of a short story time. I'll make this as short as possible. But as you guys may know, my current girlfriend is blind, and I met her in college, and she was in my World's Event class, and I avoided her for the sole reason that she was blind, and because I didn't want to feel awkward around her or anything like that. And I did play Katawa Shoujo, and then it made me realize that, people that have disabilities, they're still people. They're still, they're still everyday human beings. And the fact that I was avoiding her just because of her disability made me a scumbag. And
Yeah.
I realized that I was being a scumbag. So I decided to, to not avoid her anymore and become her friend. And eventually we started dating, and now we've been dating for years now, and she lives with me. So
yeah. And I'm kind of on the other end of that coin. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I've been hooked up to the insulin pump on my hip for, I think it's going on 4 years now. And before that, I did injections since I was 7 years old. But no, I was always more on the Hisao side of things. Like when he collapsed at the beginning of the game, it's just like, huh, that kind of struck a chord with me, and it's just like, maybe I'm, as much as I rag on the guy, as you guys know, that he's a worthless piece of crap.
Yeah.
Maybe
Master romance.
Maybe it's more about perspective here. It's not about the condition defining you, because you guys know I do my thing on the weekends where I go running or do my push-ups after work. I actually do have a living that requires me to lift very heavy things and move them around a store.
As for me, I wasn't really surrounded by disabled people, nor had any disabilities. So if you're wondering, maybe only people around disabled people like this. No. Normal people could like this too. Don't worry.
Yeah. Dennis, I wouldn't go so far as calling him normal, but
I could be normal if I tried.
But no, it's about the acceptance of everyone else, not in the I guess Tumblr sense where just everything has to be tolerated except this particular group of people that's content as they are. Yeah, I'm not saying something like that. I'm saying it's about accepting people with their flaws and not trying to either A, fix them, or B, deal with self-loathing.
Yeah, it's more about like you said, an acceptance and understanding that they're still just a human being, and
or a trigendered pyrofox. Sorry, I had to get the joke out of the way.
Let me go get my fireman's jacket for the flame war that's about to come.
All right, guys. No, I'm not serious. If you actually do identify as a trigendered pyrofox, more power to you.
Stop the flame wars.
Stop the flame
You don't need
wars.
those.
Stop the war. Stop. Anyways, a little back on topic. Spider.
Speaking of on topic.
There's a spider on my arm. It's out of nowhere.
All right.
All right. So,